The following program is rated E.
Today on Cityline, we have a great way to bond with your wedding party.
So for favors, if you're making 50, 100, 150, first of all, you need an army of bridesmaids that are willing to DIY with you.
Simple do-it-yourself favors that won't bust the bank.
If you have a little assembly line going with some friends, maybe a glass of champagne, this will move very swiftly for you.
Then a healthy, hearty bone broth to boost your immunity.
We talked about a term called hoi wai in Cantonese. We like to have a little bit of soup to open up the heart before we eat.
You don't even need to go shopping to make this.
You have almost everything in your fridge and in your pantry. You actually don't need a lot.
And later, we address the game changer that's rocking the knitting community. Is this controversial?
It is a little.
It's doing the knitting for you.
It's Cityline with Tracy Moore.
Example of dressing for yourself. I know it's winter, but I'm willing spring on, right? Are we ready for some spring? Welcome to Cityline. So it's a fresh week, and we have a great show today. We're going to talk about budget family trips. I think a lot of us want to travel right now to a viral knitting machine. You're going to want to see. It's pretty amazing. So it's also wedding engagement season. 40% of couples get engaged between November and February. So that means a lot of you are out there and you are planning. You're getting your wedding underway. So of course, Cityline has you covered. And today we've got beautiful but frugal DIY wedding favors from Leigh-Ann Allaire Perrault. She does it right. Hey!
That is moi.
So this is amazing. We've come a long way since you and I
we?
got married. As a matter of fact, you're going into, is this year 20?
20 years will be this fall for my husband and I. And if we thank you.
You made it. And hold on a second. Do you still like him?
Oh, I always say, I think it's easy to love someone because there's a lot of things that bind you together. It's harder to like them, and I really like my husband.
You like him? And
I like him a lot.
He likes you.
He does.
He told me. He likes you a lot.
This is a true story, yes.
He does. Okay, so when you think back to your wedding, because we're going to do wedding favors right now, do you remember what the wedding favors were at your wedding?
It was like pre-Pinterest, and they're like, I think I found in a magazine this idea of bells with a little note on everyone's place setting. And in theory was kind of cute because the little note like spoke to the bell, but all that happened the entire night was dingle, 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 right?
Yes.
And we were just like lip locked the entire night, which I wasn't complaining about. But if I had it to do over, if I did it over again with him, if we renewed our vows, we'd be going to Vegas and I'd be dressing up as Marilyn Monroe, he'd be Elvis, and we'd be going through a drive-through. That's how we would do it.
See you two doing that.
Yes.
I can actually, and maybe you should do that for your 20th.
Might happen, stay tuned.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the wedding favors we're going to make right now, and it's going to be these beautiful frames.
These frames over here, which were
Gorgeous.
actually inspired by a project that I did for my primary bedroom, which I shared last fall. And I brought in a couple of pictures to remind everybody of the space, or if you didn't see it before. I made this Trumeau-inspired mirror, so kind of Parisian, antique-looking mirror. And the real key ingredient for me to be able to make this was creating that plaster mold detail. And the way that I did that was getting these silicone molds from a great company called Iron Orchid Designs. And I got to thinking, I invested in the materials to make the single project, but for something like a wedding, this would be the perfect project because it's scalable. You invest in something once, and then you can make things over and over and over again. So for favors, if you're making 50, 100, 150, first of all, you need an army of bridesmaids that are willing to DIY with you.
That really like you a lot.
Right, but you know, you get into a situation where you can spend $2.50 on something like an IKEA frame, a little bit of elbow grease, and what you're saving on money put in time. So you have to invest somewhere. With DIY, it's gonna be time. And you can turn a simple frame, again, $2.50, fixed cost of materials, very limited cost additionally, to these really beautiful, I think they're quite beautiful frames that become the name card for the table setting, and then a great take home for your guests as well. And you could do a larger frame, which I did here for the table numbers. And what I love most about DIY, you can customize the look and the color for whatever your wedding is.
That's
so picking
nice.
paint colors to pick your theme, I think is really important.
So you're going to save some money. You're going to make it very customizable.
Very customizable.
And you are going to do it not like it's not going to cost a lot of money at all.
No.
So do you want to show them this?
So when I did the mirror, I just wanted to show how I did it, piecing it together from the photo. So I just picked up a frameless mirror. This is a small one. You can get the really big ones from IKEA. Construction adhesive to a wood board. And then I made all of these little plaster molds, which I was talking about. And this is really the secret. And for the mirror, although I had it as the decor piece in my own home, so many weddings, you see these now where people use them to write on the mirror the table settings or the table numbers. Exactly, so people know where to go. So what we're gonna do is use the silicone mold. We are going to use some air dry clay. So this is really affordable. You can get it in really large packages. And the idea is we're going to almost use it like Play-Doh to create all of these puzzle pieces of plaster.
Play with that while
Please
you do your next step?
Because this is probably the most important step.
Okay.
This is a really easy project to do, but important step is to use a little bit of baking powder or cornstarch, anything like that, and just dust it in your mold, and this will help to release them really easily.
Okay.
And then I will take my well-molded piece, and you're just going to push this in. Now, I'm not gonna do this precisely, but you can see how quick this can happen. And then you get that beautiful pattern. You would obviously trim out the edges there.
Yeah, very
so
nice.
I did that. Thank you.
Lovely. So it comes out very easily as long as you use that cornstarch.
So easily.
Yeah.
And I picked up also these like longer trim framing pieces, and I already have a piece in here, which I'm going to pull out. Now you can see this one's starting to separate, it cracks a little bit. That's totally fine, and we're gonna talk about why.
It's supposed to be old.
It's supposed to look a little vintage and antique. Now, here's what I thought. I'm gonna make a whole whack of these, I'm gonna put them on a table and let them dry overnight and then glue them to my frame. Mistake.
No.
Because if they're sitting on an uneven surface, they're going to kind of move and warp and they won't be flat. You want to take your pieces first, and while they're still pliable, trim off the edges. So I literally just used a little kitchen knife to give me those mitered corners there. And then you're going to take some wood glue or even just craft glue, and we are going to glue them down. Oh, I almost glued ya. We are going to glue them down.
Stuck on this frame for life.
Wet. Because now we can mold the plaster, or the air dry clay, I should say, gives you that plaster look, mold the clay to the frame, and as it dries, it will shrink and form itself around the frame to give you that really perfect kind of seamless look.
Awesome.
Having said that, if you find that when it dries, there are a few cracks, so oftentimes, oops, you'll have some cracking in the corner. I'll try to hold this up. All you need to do is once it's dry, after probably 24 hours or so, just take a wee little extra piece of wet clay and you can just smush it into any cracks and just make that disappear.
Just plaster it right back up.
Yeah,
Easy.
this is a very forgiving project. And again, if you have a little assembly line going with some friends, maybe a glass of champagne, this will move very swiftly for you.
Yeah, and try not to be a bridezilla, okay? Like, be nice. If one of your bridesmaids leaves a little crack in the frame, don't kick her out of the wedding.
Just write it on the back that so-and-so made that one.
There
Just
you
blame
go.
it on them, right? So once you have the air dry clay is dry on there, we then want to paint. And I just wanted to show this one as an example because you can see that the actual mold was a little narrower than the frame. You can see the black frame there. But you know what? That doesn't matter because once you paint it, that's what unifies the entire look of everything together. I like using chalked paint because, again, if we're making a lot of these, time is of the essence. Chalk paint dries quick, so we can fly through this quickly. And I actually picked up a chalked paint project kit. And there's a reason why this is a great investment. It comes with your brush, it comes with chalk paint in there, it comes with the top coat, but it also comes with this, which is a glaze. This is a smoked glaze. After you've put the chalk paint on, you can see this one I've used a blush pink color, which is really pretty. We are going to glaze over top. So I'm just using a little foam brush here, and this is going to look terrifying at first. You're gonna say, what are you doing? She's ruining it. And again, you don't have to be precious with this. Slap it on there. I'm just gonna do kind of two sides for comparison. You brush it on and wipe it off, and all of a sudden, that's how we achieve that really beautiful antiqued look. And that's where it shows, it highlights the detail.
Very
so now we can see all of those beautiful details.
Yeah, very nice. It gives it depth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you just want to put a clear matte top coat, chalked top coat on top of that after.
Okay.
And then again, you've got your beautiful place card, which then can turn into a little, not only gift with their name, we're going to take that up one step.
Okay.
I found an artist online, Jenny Zhang Illustrations, and there's a lot of live illustrators out there. She happens to be local here in Toronto, but she does these really beautiful live, so it's almost entertainment for your guests, quick sketches for your guests to take home in watercolor. And I thought, how beautiful would that be that you create the experience, your guest gets their image done, and then they can take it home in their frame. And I know, Tracy, you were at a wedding recently.
I was.
And I
went to a couple this year.
Well, I scoured a picture of you and Leo online and had Jenny make a little illustration, so there's a little take-home gift.
That is so nice.
See, all of a sudden now you're creating a personal favor, and it's not just a bell, a little dingly bell.
Well, this is
really
what a lot of us
piece.
did. We had like bombonieres or favors that are just going to be for that wedding, and you're never going to use them again unless you're my parents and you keep them in the hutch forever, right? This is nice because now you have something you can use for yourself.
Yes.
Allaire, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So tune in tomorrow for the ultimate bridal party gifts, registration tips, and the hottest trends for the year. Right now, taking a break. Stay with us. I love you. Coming up, an immunity-boosting bone broth to keep you healthy. It tastes like everything good. Like, I feel like I'm getting better as I sit. You can start by dancing if you want.
Little Monday.
Welcome back. There's no getting around it. Winter is here, and with it comes cold and flu season. I don't know about you, but I will take any edge I can to avoid getting sick, trying really hard not to. So here to help us boost our immunity and boost our mood, Chef Trevor Lui in the house. You're already boosting the mood because we started by dancing, right?
Monday motivation.
That's what we do. So let's talk a little bit about making our own broth. You say you can go to the store. You can get broth on the store shelves. But why is it good to make your own?
Because you know what's going in it. And plus you have almost everything in your fridge and in your pantry. You actually don't need a lot.
Okay.
If you've got a lot of bones in your fridge or you've got a lot of end vegetables, you might need to go to the store to buy some of these dried fruits and vegetables. But for the most part, making your own broth, you can make it in batch, freeze it, have it in the fridge, use it all the time.
Okay, and you want to, I say it's a very smart idea to make a whole bunch if you can, and then you're going to use it wherever you need to use it. Cook your rice with it, put it in gravy, wherever you need to use it.
Or if you just want to put it in a coffee cup and go for a walk.
Ah, there you go.
They do that in New York. It's a big thing, right?
Oh, they're walking around with their bone broth.
The broth bros and the broth babes, you know, like 12 bucks for a cup of broth. I don't know what's going on there.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's crazy, right?
They always do that.
They
it starts as something the peasants do, and then all of a sudden everyone's paying $12 for it,
We're going to talk about goji berries soon. Yeah, that too, right?
Okay, so how do we start our homemade broth?
Well, homemade broth for the Chinese, soup is a big thing for us in our culture. It's great for, we do it for health attributes, but also from we talk about a term called hoi wai in Cantonese, which means before we eat, we like to have a little bit of soup to open up the heart before we eat. And so it's almost every meal. Growing up as kids, Mom would always make soup, so for some of us, we have PTSD, but I love it.
You're like, no more soup!
Well, but now it's like, I don't make soup that often, and I miss my mom's soup. So every now and then when I see my mom, she might show up with a little container of soup for us.
Oh, that's
so
sweet.
I'm starting to do it a lot more, and now we're actually doing it for some of our health club friends because it's that time of year. People work out, they want to stay warm, they want to stay really sort of immune to the flu and cold season.
Okay.
So for us, we want to do a bone broth today, right? So we're going to do a pork bone broth. We've got some bones roasting off in the oven that's got some vegetables. And I always say for vegetables, we're going to grab this really quick, Trace. Because vegetables, when I say, if you do things that are in your pantry or sort of in the back of your fridge, like carrots, and we've got lopak, which is white radish daikon. Roast it off. We're going to get some of that fat rendered out. And all you're going to do is you're going to get a hot pot here, and we're going to throw all this roasted goodness.
So how long would you ultimately be roasting those bones for?
Not long, maybe like 30, 40 minutes. You just want to get some discoloration. You want to get the vegetables off. You want to bring this heat a little bit down, because what we're going to do is we don't want to waste anything that was in this pan. There's a lot of that fat and goodness. You know, a lot of the collagen from chicken bones and pork bones is really good for your skin, right? So you want to keep all this roasted off in here. And before we add water into here, let's talk about what else we're going to put into the broth, because
I wanted to ask you about the veggies you're going to use. Like, do you want to, I know you're saying we can sort of empty out the crisper, anything that was, you know, going to die a slow death, put it into your stock or your broth, but should you only be using veggies that can withstand?
You know, veggies are great, and I always say when you're using your veggies, use whole veggies. Don't peel, don't throw the ends away. Use the whole thing.
Okay.
But if you go to a grocery, an Asian grocery store, or even a medicinal store, you get a lot of these great things that you probably walk by, but you don't know what it is, but they've got great health attributes.
Okay.
We've got this. We call these jujubes, but they're actually dried red dates.
Oh,
okay.
Red dates. Okay.
Used for soup a lot.
Yeah.
We have a licorice root here.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's going to taste like licorice?
A little bit. So a little bit of a bite, but not much. It's very subtle.
Okay.
We've got this, which is a long and lily flower, dried.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So that's an actual flower?
Yeah. So this is actually, my mom would pick these out of the soup when they're hydrated, because I love these. These are Chinese yams that are dried up, right?
They look like a coconut almost.
Yeah, or like a nail file.
Or like a...
But don't use that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And then we've got water coconut.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the coconut family.
Okay.
And so I've got all of this stuff. Basically, you could just put all that into your stock. So generally, we would get this boiling up to a certain level until it's sort of like bubbling.
Okay.
And then you want to add all this fun stuff. Great stuff to put into broth is fruits. So if you've got a couple of pears in your fridge.
Just fresh like that, though? Or do you want them dehydrated?
No, you don't have to get dehydrated. You can if you want.
Yeah.
But if you've got some pears at home, cut them up, throw them in. Adds that natural sweetness to your broth.
Talk to me about the goji berries.
Goji berry, listen.
Is there a goji berry story?
20 years ago, goji berries was like almost free. And like today when I see a goji berry, I'm like, I don't want to see it, because it was in everything my mom cooked. It then became a superfood.
Right.
Right? And now it's like 20 bucks for a little bag. 20 bucks for like
I know.
something like this, right? Because it's super.
Yes.
So, but it's great for you. You can use it. A lot of times for broth, you can actually hydrate some gojis and throw it in at the end.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Once that's going,
yeah.
I get questions about how do you get your broth so clear?
Yes.
What you do is once your broth is there, and listen, a good broth takes 2 to 3 hours. You let it simmer for a while, and then you're going to take basically a strainer, a bigger one than this. But what you're basically going to do is you're going to take all the good in here, all the sediment, and you're just going to take the broth out. And what you want to do is you want to strain it through until you get all the clear broth.
Takes a while,
Takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it.
Okay.
So what we do is we've got some chicken broth here that we've made. And I want you to try this. I'll give you a little bit so it's not too hot on you.
You had the sort of, like when we think of bone broth and, you know, we're looking for all of these benefits that come with immunity, there's also something like collagen and the gelatin that's in there that you get from the bones that people absolutely want and love in their bone broth. So that's the stuff that looks all gelatinous.
Correct.
If you're just making this veggie, you don't get that gelatinous.
You don't get the gelatinous, but you could still get the attributes of all the vegetables. Still immunity. You just don't get that that animal fat content.
Right.
But you can still get umami. And what we like to use is mushrooms.
Okay.
Particularly like a dried shiitake. Tons of umami after you hydrate them, put them in. We've made, Chef Eva made this one as almost like a thin, hot and sour style vegan soup.
Nice.
So I think because it's a little chilly out there.
Before you go for it, can we freeze it?
Absolutely.
If we make a big batch of this stuff, what are you doing to freeze it? You putting in like just in a mason jar?
You put it in little containers like this.
Okay.
Little deli containers. Put the lid on, put it in your fridge.
Yeah.
You can put it in ice cube trays too, for smaller portions for cooking.
That's a smart idea.
Listen, holidays just ended.
Yeah.
If you're doing that big turkey, don't throw the bones away.
Right.
Use that. So,
use them.
What do you think, Trace?
Now we're going to do a cheers, because this is how they do it in New York. They walk around with their broth.
Oh, tell me.
That's delicious.
Tell me.
That is so good.
Taste that coconut?
It tastes like everything good. Like I feel like I'm getting better as I sip.
Oh, it feels so good.
Chef Trev, thank you so much for that. So he's gonna be back later with pantry staples, really, really good pantry staples you need to add to your collection. Let's cheers.
Cheers.
And let's head to break. We'll be right back, more coming up. Coming up, the knitting machine that has me thinking about a career change. I'm in, as long as we can start a business and make some money. Right?
Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we're gonna make the hat.
The thought of knitting a sweater or a hat, to me, sounds like it's going to take forever, but not today. Here with the viral knitting machine is crochet and knit designer April Calu. You always have the hottest of what's happening on the market, especially for the makers, and we have a machine that has gone viral. Like, why is this viral?
Yes, this went completely viral. So if this was 2021 or 2022, you could not buy this. This is a knitting machine. It was completely sold out. You could not find it anywhere. You know, during the pandemic, a lot of people picked up crafts, hobbies, knitting, crocheting. This was one to add to the list.
Yes.
It's very easy. You don't have to have any experience with knitting, which is really cool. So this is perfect for family, kids, like literally anybody.
Anybody can
wanted
knit.
it.
Okay, so I have to ask the question. For the people that are home with a couple of needles doing their thing, and they've been doing it this way since the beginning of time, is this controversial?
It is a little
It's doing the knitting for you.
Yeah, okay, so I mean, I'm part of a maker community, and I mean, there are some opinions about it, and everyone has their own opinion, that's fine. This has been called fake knitting.
Okay.
That's not the nicest thing to say.
That's very mean.
It is, but what my opinion is, you know, you sew by hand, you use a sewing machine. You knit by hand, you might use a knitting machine. Okay, so you just pick your options, and honestly, if anyone's talking about knitting or anything handmade or doing anything like that, it makes me happy.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, I love it.
Go make
I love
something.
It. Yeah,
make something.
Yeah, and we're gonna make a hat completely. I'm gonna show you how to make a hat right now.
A hat, if you were knitting a hat, how long would it take you?
Long. I'm a very slow knitter. I'm a fast crocheter, but I would say about over an hour maybe.
Okay, it doesn't seem that long to me, but over an hour. And then with the machine, how long does it take?
Like 10 minutes, 9 minutes.
You know
Right?
what? Let's
It's
start a
mind-blowing.
business.
Like,
Let's
why
start a
don't you wanna
business.
use this?
Okay, how does it work?
You want to just quit and just do this?
We can start
Let's
a
just do this.
business.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so let me just quickly tell you about these two machines, and then we're going to start making the hat.
Okay.
You have a 48, I have a 40. What does that mean? So this is a 48 peg. Each peg represents a knit stitch. This is a 40, so this is 40 knit stitches.
Okay.
If anyone's taking notes at home or in our studio, 48 is the one you want. It is a universal size. I feel like you can make anything with this. I've made this hat, and this hat, all from the 48. They all look different. So you can make different sizes and different things. There's lots of tutorials online for different things. But yeah, a 48. This one has a row counter, so you can see how many rows you're doing. I just want you to do a fast spin with that, and we're gonna hear it click. Go ahead.
Go fast?
Fast. There it is.
I heard
that
it.
was one row of knitting. That's how fast that was. So that was probably like 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds. So for one row of knitting for me would be about 5 or 6 minutes maybe or something like that. So we're talking 2 seconds, 5 minutes. Do I have to sell it to you anymore? Like I don't.
Okay, no, I'm in. As long as we can start a business and make some money. Right?
Okay, so I'm going to show you how we're going to make the hat right now.
Okay.
So before we attach this yarn, I want to say one thing about the yarn. So any brand, go to the dollar store, go to any craft store. There is one rule for the yarn you need to use for this knitting machine, and it is going to be worsted weight 4.
Worsted.
Okay,
so hold it like
worsted
that
weight.
for a second so we can get a shot of it.
So it's going to say the word worsted.
Worsted is W-O-R-S-T-E-D, and I'm spelling it because I've never heard that word
And then if I turn it over, there's a number 4. So really, one or the other. Look for the number 4. Look for the word wasted. It's a medium weight yarn. You know, don't use anything chunky or really fine yarn. It just doesn't work.
Got it.
Just trust me when I say it, okay?
Worsted.
Okay, so I'm gonna go here and show you that there is a color that is different from the rest. There it is.
Oh, the white one.
So this is a white amongst all these pink pegs. This one has a black one here.
Okay.
So that is the last row of this. So this is on the 48. So that is where we're gonna attach our yarn, just like this.
Yeah.
And then this is the only time you're gonna go slow. So you're gonna go in front of the peg and behind the peg, and in front of the peg and behind the peg. And you're gonna do that until you complete this entire circle. And the reason why we go slow is because we do not want it to miss a stitch, basically. It's knitting this for you.
Yeah.
And you will end up with holes in your project. Those are called drop stitches.
So are you teaching it right now, the pattern? Is that why you're doing this, so that now it knows and it's gonna just go to town on its own?
It's gonna go to town on its own. Okay. That is exactly what it's gonna do. Do you wanna try? Do you want me to just finish this?
I'm just kind of mesmerized, so,
so
just keep going.
You can find videos online to help you with if you get holes in your project.
Here, let me try.
The first few times, we're done now.
Oh, we're done.
1 second.
Good. I really want to do it. So.
No, you're going to do the next part. It's going to be really easy.
Okay.
So we're going to put the yarn right through here. This is called the yarn guide, which is going to guide it right through the machine.
Yeah.
So I want to close up here because this one's behind you, but this is the tension rod that's right in front of you. And what that means is how tight your stitches are. So if you look at any of the hats, they're very tight. You can't see through these hats.
Right.
So I like to go in the first one. So that's what that little thing
So that's going
right there.
to let you know if it's loose or tight.
That's right.
Okay.
So we're going to just, hold on a second. Work with me here. Here we go.
So now it's doing it.
All right, you're going to do it now. Just go a little bit slow. So I would suggest the first 1 to 2 rows, just go a little bit slow.
Like
and
this?
Then yep, go a little bit slow. And then once you pass, you can go a little faster than that.
I passed the white now.
Keep going. Keep going. Look how many rows you've done. You've already done 4 rows. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, everyone's getting hats.
We're getting hats.
Everyone's getting hats for Christmas. Because by the time December comes around, I will have about 7,000 of these.
I want to show you quickly something very cool because we're going to unattach this yarn.
This is
cool. This is, you search drill attachment for yarn machine.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
And I just want to show you quickly that you can knit so fast. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
So if you have a
We're going to make this hat now quickly because I know we only have a minute, and I promise you that's how fast it's going to take us to do this right now.
All right. Okay.
Once you detach this yarn, I'll do a full video on Cityline Instagram so you guys can see how you remove this.
Yep.
Okay. So I just want you to pull this. This is what you're going to get once you remove it from the machine.
Okay.
It's 140 rows. Once this counter hits 140, that's your hat. So just pull this to make it tight. Just pull it. Yep. Perfect. Okay. Let go. Okay, so now that's one end there. And then we're going to go inside here because we are going to do a double-lined hat. Who doesn't love that? It's so cozy and nice.
And it's, the thickness of it.
Right?
Like, it makes it feel very luxe.
It's double-lined.
We're going to charge a lot for our hats, eh?
Yeah, what are we charging? I don't even know.
Whatever we want.
Look, this already looks like a hat already.
Thick.
Okay, here, you're going to do this.
Okay.
Do that.
Yeah, all the way.
Yes, and then with your needle, obviously, you're going to do a little finish it off. But look at this, it's already done. Can I just look at this?
That's a hat. We made a hat with the knitter.
We made a hat.
Okay.
You knitted.
So I think it's very cool. Obviously, maybe you can't take this on the train with you.
I would, and I would.
She probably
I'm going to do
would.
it now.
Apes, thank you so much. You're so good. And of course, you want to grab one of these knitting machines for yourself. If you want to, we've got a QR code up on the screen right now, so you can shop the show, and it'll lead you right to this, and you can buy it for yourself. Right now, we're taking a quick break. Go for it, drill baby. Go for it. We'll be right back. Yes! Coming up, things that can lure you into a hotel weekend getaway.
Go into our cheese cave. I don't know if you've been there yet, Tracy.
I have not done a cheese cave. I would remember that, but that sounds incredible. Let's talk travel. Do you have any travel plans to embrace the cold? We want to make sure you make the most of it. Here with fun winter destinations across Canada is Regional VP of Sales Distribution Canada for Marriott International, Laura Pallotta.
Thanks so
love
much.
that you're with us. We all get sort of, stars in our eyes when we think, or airplanes in our eyes when we think about travel or trains or cars, however you're getting there. So do you love to do a winter destination?
Love it. I mean, our family, we're a ski family. My husband and my daughters. I'm much better at après-ski
I'm with
than
you.
the skiing part. So yeah, we love it. We embrace the winter.
I can après, avant, all the time, during, the entire time. I don't need to get up on the hill. So your first destination that we're going to talk about is all about treating yourself.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's, if you don't want to actually travel farther afield, you can do a holiday in your own backyard. So, in our big cities, we have great luxury hotels. So, for instance, you can embrace the weekend and just do a little bit of a getaway. For instance, our St. Regis Toronto.
Yes.
You can actually, we have a pillow menu. Where you can select a pillow that meets your needs and then just really kind of make a bit of a weekend away. Just indulge yourself a little bit. Another example is in Toronto, or Ritz-Carlton, Toronto. You can actually do a mixology class, or you can go into our cheese cave. I don't know if you've been there yet, Tracy.
I have not done a cheese cave. I would remember that, but that sounds incredible.
And they have a spa. They have tons of other things to do. Another great example is is out in Kananaskis. Kananaskis in Alberta. It's about an hour north of Calgary. We have an autograph collection hotel, and they have a Nordic spa. So you can go hydrotherapy tubs. So a ton of fun. So, you know, just really nice just in your backyard. And a lot of times with these packages, weekend packages, you can get things like complimentary parking, free upgrades, food and beverage credits. So you can just escape away, and it's just lots of fun, and you can do it very last minute.
Like, I am a very big believer in staycations, and I think we started doing this during the pandemic. There was nowhere to go, so it was really nice to do a hotel, and that's what I do for my birthday every year. I just did the St. Regis this year.
I know you did.
It was so much fun. We got to swim. I swam with my girlfriends, woke up in the morning, swam again. We did the spa, a spa treatment. It's a nice thing to do for yourself, especially if you take your going away budget and just repo it for a staycation, right?
Yep.
Okay, your next one is a very smart one, and I've done this as well with the kids. What else is your suggestion?
Well, think about going to a hotel and enjoying an indoor pool.
Yes!
What kid doesn't love a pool? And
go swim.
Yeah, particularly in the winter. And many of our brands, our Courtyard brand, Delta brand, Town Place Suites, most of our hotels have indoor pools. Some of the hotels actually even have water slides. For instance, the Sheraton Falls View in Niagara Falls, Ontario, not only do they have a water slide, but they're adjacent to an indoor water park.
Wow.
So the kids can have a ton of fun, spend the weekend, and if you happen to have brought a babysitter, you can actually, there's a casino there as well for some adult fun.
That's amazing. And I remember taking the kids there when they were quite young, and then going back to the room and like warming up a bottle in our microwave and feeding the baby. So it's a really lovely thing to do as a family.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those folks that like outside. Like they want to be in the outdoors. What have we got for them?
Well, listen, we all know Canadians, we need to embrace winter. And of course, we have world-renowned ski hills, you know, Whistler, Rosslyn, British Columbia, or Tremblant, Quebec. But it's not, everyone is not a skier. But you can just enjoy and get fresh air and think about snowmobiling and snowshoeing, you know, that kind of thing. So I would definitely suggest, you know, we have our JW Rosso up north. You can do that. Ton of fun. You can, they actually even have a vodka ice bar, an indoor ice bar that you can have fun. Also in Vancouver, we have the Westin Bayshore Hotel, and they have snow globes. So you and a bunch of friends can get one of the snow globes. You can dine inside, look under the stars, take great photos, look at the mountains. Just something fun to do.
I think that's so beautiful. I want to talk about points.
Now,
there's a lot you can do with your points that you might not even be thinking about. So let's talk about the points and redeeming them.
So you probably have points laying around that you're not even using from groceries, from travel, all that. You can convert those points to Marriott Bonvoy, which is the largest hotel loyalty program in the world, and you can redeem them for moments. These are once-in-a-lifetime moments. So we have partnerships with the Montreal Canadiens, with the Toronto Maple Leafs, with Live Nation, think concerts. For example, this past year we had the Shania Twain concert, and our customers were redeeming points for a once-in-a-lifetime experience for premium seats, an autographed souvenir. She even brought some folks on stage to do a song with her.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Laura, thank you so much for that. Great ideas there. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back, everyone. Amazing. On stage coming up, Chef Trevor gives us a look at his pantry staples.
Having a carefully stocked pantry is almost like anything else you do. It's accessorizing your food.
Welcome back. Let's talk about cooking like a chef, because if you want to cook like a chef, the first step is to have all the right ingredients on hand. So we got Chef Trevor to go and look into his pantry and tell us what we need, the staples that we need in our pantry, and not, you know, get buried in the back of the shelf there. Bring them to the forefront, use them in your recipes, and you're going to have a ton of flavor. So you've brought us you know, I
it's
don't know.
not the same for everyone. I brought about 1% of my collection.
1% of your pantry.
But, you know, having a carefully stocked pantry is almost like anything else you do. It's accessorizing your food and taking it to the next level. So I always say spending quality money on quality ingredients for your food is very important. It'll take it to the next level.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's going to take it to the next level, especially if you have to, like, maybe you're going to skimp on the actual food you're buying. Don't skimp on the flavor.
Correct. I mean,
right?
It's like a good book. You got to have a good introduction, a good middle, and a good finish.
And a good
So finishing is really important. So having really good ingredients is really important to finishing your food as well.
Well, let's start. Where do you want to start?
I got the oils on one
Let's start
side,
with the
right?
oils.
And I think in a lot of normal households, you generally have a neutral oil, like a veggie or a canola, and you'll probably have like an olive oil. But most people will probably choose an entry-level olive oil, and we have to watch out from where the olive oil comes from. There's been a lot of, you know, talk about where our olive oil comes from. But it's really important to have a really nice olive oil to finish off if you're eating a nice cheese or a nice salad. So always have a nice finishing olive oil. This is a Greek olive oil.
Lovely.
Now, I like to use canola as my neutral oil because
that's this
I
one.
do a lot of Asian cooking, and for me, a neutral oil is two things, right? Smoke point. Because I like to cook on high heat so it doesn't burn. The other one is that it's not intense in flavor, so it doesn't take away from your ingredients. Now, Asian cooking, sesame oil is really big.
It's my favorite.
I don't cook a lot with sesame oil per se, but I use it for marinating and making dressings because it's very overpowering. And it's got a very low smoke point, so it will burn. But people love it, the nuttiness.
It's the flavor
it's
of
great
it
for
all.
making
and you
like
don't
a dipping
need a ton
sauce.
of it. You don't need a ton of it.
And then everyone has to have.
What do we have here?
That's a chili oil or
Chili
chili
oil.
crisp,
Ooh, I
right?
love
If you're
that.
Chinese, you've got chili crisp.
Yes.
I know it's amazing. I'm not featuring my own chili crisp for the first time.
Yeah, what's going on?
You know, I thought
happening?
I'd share the love.
Are you
know,
getting humble? Like, what's going on? I don't know if I like the sight of
I
you,
know.
Trev.
It's
Come on.
2024, Trace. So we're going to move over to the vinegars because a lot of people have, you know, your basic vinegars for dressings, right? So like red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, or balsamic. I think you need to always have a Chinese black vinegar. If you like dumplings in your house and you make a dipping sauce with soy sauce and a little bit of chili, you have to have Chinese black vinegar.
Gotcha. Okay.
Balsamic vinegar for dressings is great.
That's this guy.
This is a reduction, and I think I've got it right here. So a reduction is a little thicker.
Yeah.
It's great for like finishing off like a nice cheese plate.
I can't even get up.
Sorry, I went for the big spoons.
Ooh. That's
thick,
flavor.
That's the reduction, right? Brings the sweetness
very
out.
good.
And then have a nice aged balsamic in your house.
Is that this one?
Yeah, that's 15, 20, 25. It's kind of like the whiskey in your liquor cabinet. They're not inexpensive, but a little goes a long way.
Got it.
Then we move over to things like soy sauce.
Yes.
A lot of people, you go to an Asian grocery store, you go to the soy aisle, and there's like 500 bottles, right?
Yes.
A lot of them are flavored. There's tamari, which is gluten-free. There's light soy. There's dark soy. So you have to, make sure you're choosing the right soy. Dark soy, you only need a little bit. Great for marinating. Okay. So you have here soy adjacent, I call it.
Okay, so
Maggie.
Maggie. We love Maggie.
We love Maggie, and not the Rod Stewart Maggie. This is Maggie in a bottle, which is very common in Southeast Asian countries.
Yes.
I have a little bit of Maggie here, right there
Maggie.
for you.
Tell me what you would use
Maggie is
in.
great. Oh, you know, a great little snack is if you've got if you got some white rice.
Yeah.
You throw some Maggie into it, a little bit of butter, and a fried egg, and then we're gonna move over here because we've got furikake, and I'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
But you know, other soy adjacent is oyster sauce.
Just before you even get to the oyster, I want to know how do you describe the taste of the Maggie? So it's like, it's got some salt to it. It's got, that's pretty much.
Is there a word for that? Little tartness, a little bit of citrus.
A little citrus?
A little citrusy.
Yeah, there's a freshness
and there's a
to
saltiness to it, a little briny saltiness.
It's beautiful.
Amazing.
Beautiful flavor builder
great for
there.
marinating, great for finishing.
Yes. Okay, so now on to oyster.
Sauce. You must have oyster sauce. Now, traditional oyster sauce is made from oyster extract. Yeah. So this does come in a vegetarian form.
Okay.
Oh, oyster sauce just on rice. Amazing.
That's all you need, right?
Teriyaki sauce.
Yeah,
I think everyone should have some teriyaki sauce in their house. You
and
can make your own if you're
have
ambitious,
this.
but why be so ambitious? Just buy it.
Yeah.
And then hoisin sauce. Hoisin in Cantonese actually means hoisin, which is seafood.
Okay.
So it's an extract from seafood, but you can get this vegetarian as well.
Yes.
So if you like go to a restaurant, you like ordering lettuce wraps. That sauce, that's hoisin sauce.
Oh, that's
A little bit
hoisin.
of sweetness.
Yeah. Oh,
and then
I do
we've got
love
some
it.
adjacent stuff here. You know, fermented stuff is big because that gut health, really big. So gochujang, miso. I got miso paste for salad dressing and soups.
What do you like? Yeah, tell me a little bit about how you use that miso paste then.
So miso, I would do either to make a miso broth, so it's just that in hot water until it thins out.
Okay.
Or you can take that and make a dressing, a miso vinaigrette.
Okay.
Also, a miso marinade for fish is amazing too.
Beautiful.
Like a miso cod.
Yes.
Ooh, now we're talking.
All right, I like that.
Tahini.
So I'm surprised
Amazing.
to see tahini. That doesn't seem like a, you know, it is going to be a cultural thing, but it wouldn't be something that every single person has, tahini.
I think people don't understand tahini as much as they can because they actually probably eat a lot of it. If you're going out for shawarmas or Mediterranean food, there's always tahini. But if you're eating Chinese food, then there's things with sesame paste.
Yeah.
They're pretty much similar. So we use tahini in some of our recipes in our restaurant as well.
Okay.
And then mustard. Always. You go to a house, everyone's got yellow mustard for the hot dogs and hamburgers. But you should get a grainy mustard, too.
I'm married to a French man. We have all the mustard
You've got
at our
all
house.
of them, right?
Yes.
So this is a nice little fancy one. This is a Provençal grainy mustard. Great for dressings. Great on putting on lamb before it hits the grill.
It's delicious.
It's delicious, right? And then I've got some dried stuff. The furikake is, everyone should have furikake. This is a Japanese seasoning blend. There's one on your spoon right there, Trace.
I'm just going to show you what this looks, well, forget it.
Well, I've got it in the spoon, and you can put it right in your
But I just
palm.
want Al to get a shot of that. So this is what it's going to look like if you're buying it in the store.
It's a blend of toasted sesame seed, seaweed, and bonito flake, which is shaved fish. Okay? And then MSG is really important. Don't be afraid of MSG,
like
folks. Isn't that great?
What do you use that on?
It's finished on rice. Amazing. You know, sometimes
It's
when
like
you go
nori.
have Japanese, and there's the California rolls or like the maki rolls, they'll see it on the rice.
Yes.
Good finishing salt. Malden smoked salt.
Yes.
Amazing.
When do you use the Malden salt?
Perfect when like you've just grilled a nice steak or a lamb or something meaty that comes out, finish it with a nice salt.
Okay.
Right? And you know, it's important, it's not that cheap, but it's not that expensive either because it goes a long way.
Are we talking about what's in here, the
Well,
magic?
we call that gourmet white powder.
What gourmet white powder?
MSG, MSG.
And what is that going to add to it, and how do you use that in relation to, let's say, how you would use salt?
Traditionally, MSG is a flavor enhancer, so it helps bring flavor from your existing ingredients out.
Yeah.
It is more of a salty attribute, so I would just pull back on the salt if you're using salt and use a little bit of MSG. It's a natural component that our bodies build, so it's not bad for you.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fine, everything in moderation.
Beautiful, Trev. Thank you. Just a window into his pantry. Let's go to break. More coming up. Stay with us, everyone. Cityline's experts can help you.
We're looking for suggestions.
What would you recommend?
What tips might you have?
With everything from decor dilemmas.
I'm wondering if you can help me with a sunken living room.
Fashion finds.
What to wear as the mother of the bride.
Fabulous food, and so much more. You are in good hands. Send us your videos, pictures, and questions to submissions at cityline.tv or scan the code on your screen to get expert advice for real life.
Let me know. Thanks.
To our guest today, we had LA, Trevor, Apes, as well as Laura. And before we go, I want to talk a little bit about one more thing. So we talked about wedding favors a little bit earlier, Leigh-Ann, beautiful wedding favors. But I want to talk about, I don't know, ugly things. I want to talk about...
What are you saying, Tracy?
Yours was so pretty. I want to talk about things that have gone wrong. Like, for your wedding, do you remember any gifts that you got that you were sort of like, I do not want this.
Me? Pick
you
me,
in the black
pick me.
jacket.
Okay, so we had a lot of beautiful wedding gifts, but then you sometimes get the unexpected wedding gifts of things maybe you didn't register for, didn't ask for, didn't know you needed, and you go, wow, this is amazing. We opened up one card, and there was a note that said, this will either be the best or worst gift you've ever received.
Oh.
And it included a lottery ticket. Oh. That was it.
That was the whole gift?
That was the gift.
Did you win the lottery?
We did not win the lottery.
Then it was the worst.
Worst, but we framed it.
But
so it kind of became the best.
Was that like a kitschy cousin that's like, ha-ha, gotcha?
Was a cousin. The kitschy is a TBD. I don't know.
We love it. Thank you for joining us, audience in-house and audience at home.